Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. This entire week, we're going to talk about life. That's a pretty broad topic, isn't it? But we are going to specifically discuss the principle of valuing life, and I'll go through this week's schedule with you so you can look forward to it. The affection of loving life, the intention of living a full life, nurturing life in other people, and teaching your child to have a healthy life, how to live it, and why, the benefits of it. So today we're actually going to talk about valuing life. I want to ask you, how much do you value your life? And I'll give you a good indicator about it. One is, do you frequently complain about your life? Oh, I hate my life. I hate my job. I can't stand my husband. My wife is such a witch. My kids are such a pain in the neck. If this is something that you say a couple times a week or more, you don't value your life much. You don't have a great appreciation for your life. It's not a guilt-inducing statement. It's a matter of making an assessment. So the challenge question right now is, how much do you value your life? And at the end of this particular episode, I hope you even have a better answer for me. Okay, so when you value your child's life, that translates into a lot of things. When you value life in general, that literally actually covers over every single thing that you ever do or think or say. Just like when you don't value it, everything is colored by that lack of value of life. I've had people say, oh, I value other people's lives. I value my kids' lives. I just don't know how much I value my own. Okay, let me remind you for the how manyth time, and you will still continue to hear me say this in a couple of years from now, what you do not have, you cannot give. If you really don't place a high value on your own life, you really have a hard time valuing someone else's. Okay? As a health professional, working in labor and delivery with pregnant women for many years, more than 20,000 pregnant women. So I've done this a few times. Of course, I've held in my own hands babies that were 3 inches long. One friend of mine miscarried at close to 14 weeks, and her baby was born inside of the amniotic sac. So here's this little tiny baby, fully intact, inside the amnion. He was still alive, he was still moving. Of course, he had all of his digits, and he was perfectly formed. His little feet were just not quite 3/4 of an inch long. And I asked her, do you want to hold the baby? And she said, do I have to hold the baby like in there? And I said, yes, you do, because if we break that sac, he's going to die. And he's actually going to be gone in about a minute or two anyway. But yes, you have to hold the whole thing. So literally all of it with him in there, she held him for a few minutes. She has thanked me many times over for that opportunity to hold the baby just like that. Do you know, so many people will tell you that's just a fetus, it's just tissue. Yeah, I've held one too many babies in my lifetime to ever buy that story. And as I've told you before, I worked in a hospital where the policy was that when someone delivered a baby that wasn't viable, so, even a 16, 17-week baby that's 7 or 8 inches long and fully formed, we just wrap it in a towel and put it in the dirty utility room where all the dirty dishes and everything else went. Boy, I couldn't stand it. First time I had a stillbirth, a baby born, but that baby was alive. And they're like, oh, just wrap it up and put it in there. I stayed with that baby. I stayed with that baby for about 15 minutes while it gasped and struggled to breathe. But I literally held that baby in my hands so that baby was kept warm. And someone was with that baby till the last breath. I do value life. I'm coming from a place where I can say to you that I believe in the value of every life. Okay. I want to tell you the truth. I had an aunt who had an extremely severe stroke. She could not speak. She could not eat. She could not walk. She could not function in any way, shape, or form for almost 7 years. I can even question the value of that kind of life. I really freely can admit that to you. It's a difference, between being a vibrant, energetic, extraordinarily active, intelligent woman to lying in a bed, not really doing a single thing, and not even able to care for herself, much less anyone else, for a really long time. I can't really picture, even in my own thoughts, how frustrating or difficult that had to be for her. I own that right up front for you, okay? There are some lives that we really call things into question. This is what her daughter said to me after she passed away, my cousin. She said, "Those were some of the sweetest years of my mom's life for me because I found out how to really care for someone. I really learned the value of life every day as I fed my mom and washed my mom and just spent time with my mom, talking to my mom and holding my mom's hand, being with her. I learned a lot about the value of life." So I just want you to know every single life has value. Okay? Your life has great value. If no one has ever said that to you before, I want to make you a promise that your life is of great value. You may not know how, you might not even understand to whom you are that valuable, but I promise you that your life has value. You want to teach your child the value of life, to protect life. It's very interesting when people get older or when people get something like a diagnosis of cancer, suddenly they understand something about the value of life. They fight for it. They will fight for every breath. They will fight for every minute that they can get their hands on. Okay? I want you to know it may be difficult on a day-by-day basis to see the importance of the value of life, but I assure you that life is very valuable. And so you teach this value to your children. You give them that underlying principle of how very valuable life is, including what we might call a compromised life. Let me tell you about a couple kinds of compromised lives. People who get injured and consequently end up in a wheelchair. And I have a good friend to whom this happened, a brilliant, brilliant young man. He was in a really strange kind of an accident. He was alongside the road, not on his motorcycle, but adjusting something on it, and a truck went by, and the wind shear picked him up and threw him about 30 feet, and he landed on his head on a rock and ended up with permanent brain damage for over 40 years thereafter. And I went to see him many times. Basically at heart, he was the same person. He couldn't speak. He wasn't brilliant anymore, but a lot of the energy and the fun that he always had was right there. So that was a compromised life. He couldn't work. He couldn't support himself. He couldn't take care of himself. He couldn't speak. He didn't get to use his education. He lost his mind. But still, his life, though it was compromised, was of great value. My aunt, someone who's had a debilitating stroke, I would call that a compromised life. Sometimes someone who has been a heavy drinker for a very long time or a heavy smoker, they can no longer really do what they did before. They have COPD, they have emphysema, they end up with cirrhosis of the liver or a really bad dementia from some of what they did to themselves. They have a compromised life. Someone with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, they have a compromised life through no fault of their own. And yet, even a compromised life is of great value. And we need to help our children understand that. We need to help our children understand the principle of the value of their own life. We need to tell them that all the time. I am so glad that you are here with me. I'm so glad God sent you to our family. I am so glad that you are a part of my life. My life is richer and fuller and far more amazing because of your presence in our family, because of your presence with me. Affirm for them the great value of their life, not what they do, not who they are, not what they contribute, but just the inherent value of their life and how important and meaningful their life is to you. Every single book that you read has an author. Every song that you sing has a composer, both the lyrics and the music. And I promise you that your life has a creator. I'm not asking you to believe what I believe. I'm just saying to you that your life has a creator. God created life, and he sustains life. He is the giver of life. And so because of that, let me tell you, especially you moms, it's a big, big deal. You get to participate so actively with God in the creation and sustaining of a life. That little life that grows inside of your body and develops. And out comes this amazing little human. It's really exciting stuff. It's painful, but it's really exciting. And you moms and dads have the great privilege of watching the development of the life of that small person under your care at your home. Okay? I want you to place such amazing value on that little life, and I want you to help your child to understand the very deep beauty and meaning of their life, because it is the truth. Though life has challenges and difficulties and certainly some bad and ugly stuff, I'm not one to gloss over it or pretend it's not there. But life has so much beauty and purpose and meaning. And it has it even in a somewhat compromised state. It may be difficult to us believe or imagine that sometimes, but I'm telling you, I've known people with Down syndrome. They're some of the happiest, sweetest people I've ever seen. I had a good friend with cerebral palsy. He's a brilliant, brilliant man and a really good husband and father. And so life in and of itself is rich and beautiful and amazing. I really am asking you in kindness to lay down that foundational principle in your child's life, to respect the value of their own life, to respect the value and importance of other people's lives, and to do all that they are able to do to protect life. I'm going to leave you with a story. When my son was a little boy, he tried really hard to kill a kitten. I won't go into great detail, and we'll try to put into the description box where you can hear this whole story in a lot more vivid color. That day, more than any other day, I really gave my son a severe spanking, disciplined him so hard, and told him in no uncertain terms he could never kill anything. He was about 4 years old. When he was 14, he was cutting the grass, and he found a nest of baby groundhogs. These things were destroying my house, my yard, my garden. They had torn up some of my plumbing. Those things were awful. I said, we can't let them live. He said, oh, Mom, I'll just take them out in the woods. I said, no, we cannot let them live. He said, I can't kill them. I said, me either. I can't kill anything. I can't do it. So I said, all right, get a deep, deep, deep bucket of water and we'll drown them because, I've heard that drowning is one of the kinder ways to kill something. I can tell you today I wouldn't say that, but at the time that's what I thought. I said, I'll tell you what, you put one in, I'll put one in. There were 8 of them. It was one of the most horrific things for both of us that we ever had to do. I mean, those things could not live. They were horrible. I just could not support 8 more groundhogs in my yard when I already had more than enough tearing things apart. But it was awful drowning those little baby groundhogs. Both of us knew and understood the value of life, even of a destructive, obnoxious critter out in the yard. And so I want you to instill in your child the deep value of a life. So my question is, do you value your life? And I really want you to look at that for a while for me. If you don't, if you struggle with that, if there are things in your way, I really invite you to send me an email. Go through paintabeautifulpicture.com and you'll be able to do that. Or even down below, say things to me that you would like to say, or send me a question in the comments section. Thank you so much for joining with me today. I really hope today is a great day in your life. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.